The curse was spoken in the open sun, not in whispers, not in the shadows, but in front of an entire nation. An elder tribal chief, respected by thousands, pointed his trembling finger at President Ibrahim Traoré and publicly cursed him to his face during a sacred ceremony. His voice didn't sound like anger. It sounded like thunder carrying centuries of pain. "Your leadership is doomed," he cried. "The spirits have turned their backs on you." The drums stopped. The wind itself seemed to freeze. Soldiers reached for their weapons. Mothers pulled their children close. Everyone thought the same thing. This old man is finished. But what Ibrahim did next, he did not just surprise the soldiers. He did not just shock the crowd. What he did would rewrite the destiny of forgotten tribes of the north and uncover a truth that had been buried beneath silence, fear, and poisoned water. And this right here is where our story truly begins. Before we continue, tell me in the comments. Backhand index pointing right, where are you watching from? Backhand index pointing right, and what time is it right now? Your comment helps this story travel further than any road ever built. And if you believe in justice, kindness, and truth, hit the like button and subscribe to join the Commander Ibrahim community. Now, let me take you there. The sun hangs heavy over the remote village of Gallo. No skyscrapers, no highways, no noise of engines, just red earth, whispering forests, and winding paths carved by bare feet over generations. Smoke curls into the sky from cooking fires. Children laugh without shoes. Women carry water in clay pots balanced like crowns. Here, the capital city feels like another universe. Here, life is guided not by newspapers or television, but by ancestors, dreams, and the spirits of the forest. And yet lately, something has felt wrong. The drums sound tired. The elders speak in quiet, worried tones. Even the birds seem to sing with caution. But today the quiet breaks. The president is coming. Ibrahim Traoré does not arrive in limousines or polished shoes. His trucks are covered in dust. His boots are worn. He steps out wearing his familiar beret and fatigues, not like a politician, like a soldier with a purpose. There is no red carpet here, only hard earth shaped by struggle. Hundreds gather in a wide circle. Elders, farmers, widows, children peeking from behind their mothers. At the center sits Chief Bamogo, 80 years old, skin like weathered bark, eyes sharp as a hawk and heavy with memories. He is not just a man. He is the voice of the land. When Ibrahim approaches, he bows slightly, ready to offer cola nuts in respect. But the chief does not smile. He rises. His staff strikes the ground. The sound crashes through the clearing like lightning. He lifts his hand and curses the president to his face. "You bring a dark cloud. Your power is hollow. You let the heart of our land rot." Gasps explode through the crowd. Soldiers move. Hands tighten on rifles. Villagers shut their eyes. They have seen this story before. Power punishing truth. Chief Bamogo stands tall, waiting for the handcuffs, waiting for the blow, waiting for humiliation. But Ibrahim does not lift a hand. He does something far more dangerous. He tells his soldiers, "Stand down." The world goes silent. He steps closer and closer until he is eye to eye with the man who has just cursed him. And in a calm voice he asks, "Which blood, father? Show me the blood." The chief falters. He expected violence. He expected ego. He did not expect a leader willing to listen. His voice cracks. He points toward the eastern forest. "The Black River," he whispers. "It once gave us life. Now it gives us death. Cattle dying. Children sick. Fish floating belly up beneath the sun. Poisoned." Ibrahim's face hardens. Who did this? The chief's answer is not a name. It is an accusation that shakes the earth beneath their feet. "The machines," he says. "The men with trucks. They said they were partners of the government, but they brought death instead of gold." Ibrahim slowly lowers his head. And in that moment, he realizes this is not just a curse. It is a call for justice. But who were these men? Why were they protected? And how deep did the betrayal go? The answer would change everything. The truth begins to pour out like the poisoned river itself. The chief's voice trembles, not from fear, but from the weight of buried grief. They dug up our riverbanks. They poured chemicals into the water. They promised schools, clinics, hope. But all they left us with was poison. A soft whisper rolls through the crowd. Fear begins to fade, and in its place rises something deeper: sorrow. A young woman steps forward. Her eyes are swollen from crying. Pressed against her chest is a small folded cloth. The soldiers don't stop her. They can't, because grief walks where it wants. She opens the cloth. Inside, tiny sandals, worn, faded, too small for any living child in this crowd. Her voice cracks like dry earth. My son was 6. Her tears fall freely. He played in the river. He drank the water. He got a fever that burned him from the inside. Her hands shake. We had no doctor, no medicine. We buried him 3 days ago. Silence. No speech could fill that silence. No policy. No press conference. No statistic. Just sandals. Ibrahim stares at them. The soldier inside him falls away. And what remains is a father, a human being, a man standing face to face with heartbreak. He doesn't say, "I'm sorry." Words are too small. He simply reaches out and gently places his hand on the sandals. His voice is quiet, heavy. I did not know. Chief Bamogo's anger flares like fire meeting dry grass. That is why I cursed you. His voice shakes the air. Because I warned your officials. I sent letters. I sent my own nephew to the regional governor, begging for help. His chest heaves. And your governor said the mining was authorized. He said we were blocking progress. All eyes slowly turn toward the polished suits at the back. The advisors, the officials, and the man sweating through an expensive jacket. Governor Dio. The air chills. Even the wind seems to pause. Ibrahim turns, slow, controlled, dangerous. He locks eyes with the governor. Come here. Dio swallows, but his mouth is dry. He steps forward. His smile is thin, fragile. Mr. President, these villagers, they do not understand modern industry. The contract is legal. It brings tax revenue, and Ibrahim's reply is barely above a whisper, but it cuts like a blade. Enough. Silence strikes harder than shouting ever could. He turns back to the chief. Where is this river? 2 kilometers. The chief answers. Through the bush. Ibrahim nods once. Take me there. The head of security panics. Sir, it's unsafe. The terrain is rough. It is not on the schedule. And you have a formal banquet in Tuho. The vest hits the jeep with a heavy thud. Ibrahim's voice is calm. Final. Cancel the banquet. If these people walk through poison, then I will walk through it too. For a moment, Chief Bamogo forgets his anger. He simply stares. Then he nods. And together, they walk into the forest. The security team scrambles behind them. Governor Dio tries to disappear into the crowd. He won't get the chance. Without even turning, Ibrahim calls out, Dio, you're coming too. The forest goes still. If the water is safe enough for their children, it is safe enough for you. Color drains from the governor's face. No one speaks. They walk. The heat presses down like a weight. Sweat burns the eyes. Feet sink into red dust. And then, the smell hits. Rot. Sulfur. Like the earth itself is dying. They break through the trees. And there it is. The Black River. Except now, it's not black. It's sick. Brown sludge. Orange foam licking the banks like scars. Trees along the water stand lifeless. Bones of wood. And towering above the destruction, the machines, roaring, grinding, ripping the land apart. This is what they called development. This is what corruption looks like in daylight. Ibrahim stands at the bank, silent. Then he turns slowly toward Dio. The governor hides behind a handkerchief as if fabric can block guilt. This is what you approved? His voice is too calm, dangerously calm. Dio stutters. Mr. President, the report said environmental impact was minimal. I didn't know. Ibrahim doesn't argue. He simply takes out his phone. 3 words. Send the helicopter. He ends the call. A foreman in a hard hat storms over, annoyed at the interruption. This is private property. Get off this site before I call the police. He doesn't realize who he's talking to. Not yet. Ibrahim doesn't move. Governor Dio. Introduce us. Dio's voice trembles. Jejak. This is President Ibrahim Traoré. The foreman freezes. Arrogance evaporates. He stares at the beret, the soldiers, the man who does not flinch. Mr. President, I open the office. Inside the site cabin, the air conditioning hums like a mockery. On the wall maps, in the corner a heavy safe. Open it, Ibrahim says. Jacques stammers. Only the regional manager has the code. A soldier steps forward. Metal screams. The safe opens. Stacks of cash. Black binders. Receipts of betrayal. Ibrahim opens one. His eyes move slowly. Then he reads out loud. Chemical disposal fee $0. Local hush money $5,000. Consulting fee for Governor Dio $20,000. The room freezes. The truth is naked now. Dio backs into the wall, eyes wild. Sir, I can explain, that was a consulting fee for. Ibrahim's voice is low. Too calm. Like thunder before it breaks. Advice. He steps closer. And the room suddenly feels too small. Too quiet. Too dangerous. Because what happens next won't just expose corruption. It will shake the ministry, the government, and every official who thought the villages were too small to matter. And this time, the punishment will not be a speech. It will not be paperwork. It will be personal. The wind changes. Not the weather, the energy. It shifts the moment Ibrahim's voice cuts through the poison-filled air. You advised them to poison the water. You advised them to kill children. He doesn't shout the last words. He breathes them, and somehow that makes them even heavier. Ibrahim snaps the binder shut, the sound echoing like a gunshot, and grabs Governor Dio by the collar of his immaculate Italian suit. The once untouchable politician now looks like a rag doll in the hands of a soldier forged in fire. Ibrahim drags him out into the burning heat. Dust swirls. Villagers watch in stunned silence. Mothers clutch their children tighter. Old men stand straighter. They have never ever seen justice walk like this. Ibrahim marches Dio right up to the riverbank where toxic orange foam bubbles like a living curse. Look, he roars, forcing the governor forward. Dio stumbles. His polished shoes sink into the poison mud. This is your consulting. This is your development. This is the price of your greed. The crowd doesn't cheer. They don't speak. They simply witness. Because this moment feels holy. Then, a sound grows in the distance. Churning blades. Thunder in the sky. The helicopter. It bursts over the tree-line, kicking up a storm of dust and leaves. A squad of elite military police jumps out the second it lands. Disciplined, stone-faced, ready. Ibrahim doesn't hesitate. He points. Arrest them. Every foreman. Every supervisor. Lock down every machine. If a single truck leaves this site, you answer to me. His finger shifts, now aimed directly at Governor Dio. And him, he flies back to the capital. Not as a governor, but as a prisoner. Handcuffs snap shut. Dio breaks. The arrogant mask collapses. He weeps like a child while villagers stare, realizing they are witnessing something their ancestors prayed for but never saw. Real justice. But inside the binder lies something darker. A final page. A final name. A name labeled only the architect. The payment beside it is 5 times Dio's. Ibrahim reads the real identity, and his blood turns to ice. It's not a foreign businessman. Not a faceless shadow. It is someone close. Someone powerful. Someone he trusted. A senior advisor in the Ministry of Defense. A man who had dinner with him last night. The betrayal slices deep. Ibrahim closes his eyes for a brief second, the weight of it crushing, then turns to Chief Bamogo. The old chief's anger has melted away. Now there is only shock and sorrow. Papa, Ibrahim says softly, handing the binder to a soldier. The machines will stop. The river will be cleaned. But this snake, its head lives in the capital. And tonight, I cut it off. He boards the helicopter. The engines scream to life. But the battle waiting for him is far more dangerous than poison. Because the traitor already knows. And he is not waiting to be arrested. He is preparing a war. The radio crackles mid-flight. Sir, we have unauthorized troop movement near the landing zone. Unknown units, heavily armed. It looks like a coup attempt. A deadly silence falls inside the helicopter. Former Governor Diallo begins shaking uncontrollably. They're going to kill us. They know I talked. They'll blow us out of the sky. Ibrahim ignores him. He checks his sidearm, tightens his beret, then looks at the pilot. Do not divert. Sir, if we land, we may not. I said land. If we run, we look guilty. If we run, the country falls. The helicopter descends. Armed men swarm below. Mercenaries in unmarked uniforms. Guns rise. Fingers tighten on triggers. Every heartbeat feels like thunder. The wheels touch down. The door slides open. And for a split second, the world seems to hold its breath. Then Ibrahim steps out. Dusty fatigues. Boots still stained from the poisoned river. Eyes burning like fire. He does not creep. He does not hide. He walks straight into the barrel of a loaded rifle. The mercenary captain shouts, "Halt!" Ibrahim keeps walking until the barrel presses against his chest. This weapon, he says calmly, was paid for with the blood of our children. You are standing on sovereign soil. Lower it, or you will never lift it again. The captain hesitates. He sees it. This is not a politician. This is a warrior who has buried brothers. The rifle lowers. One by one, the others follow. The sea of mercenaries parts, and Ibrahim walks straight into the lion's den. Straight to the office of the man behind it all. General Kabor, the architect. He kicks open the door. There stands Kabor, feeding documents into a shredder, the ghost of guilt racing across his face. He turns, forcing a smile he no longer controls. You're back early, he says, voice cracking. Just clearing old files. Ibrahim throws the black binder on his desk. It lands like a stone on a coffin. No more lies, he says, voice low. I saw the river. I saw the death. And I saw your name. Kabor drops the mask. You're naive, he sneers. That money pays for soldiers, for the state, for power. You think ideals run a country. I think truth does, Ibrahim replies. Kabor laughs. You arrest me. Half the army burns the city tonight. Silence. Then Ibrahim slowly raises his phone. You're right. The system is corrupt. That's why I didn't call the police. Kabor narrows his eyes. Then who did you call? Ibrahim turns the screen. A glowing red icon. The national radio station. The entire country has been listening. For the last 2 minutes. Kabor's face collapses. Outside, the city begins to roar. Not in anger. In awakening. The people have heard the truth. And truth is louder than any bullet. Kabor is finished. But as he is dragged away, he leans in, whispering like a serpent. You think the river is the only thing we sold? Ibrahim freezes. Check the grain reserves. Kabor hisses. They're empty. Famine is coming. And you cannot arrest hunger. The words feel colder than death. Within hours, Ibrahim stands inside the National Grain Reserve. Once meant to feed a nation. Now, empty, silent, hollow, like a grave. 3 days of food remain in the capital. Less in the villages. Panic will come with the sunrise. But Ibrahim does not panic. He breathes. He decides. We don't announce anything, he says. We fix it before our people feel fear. How? His young captain asks. The treasury is empty. The UN will take weeks. Ibrahim looks at the plane on the tarmac. And the gold seized from the mine. We still have value, he says. Load the gold. All of it. We are going to trade. Sir, this is personal risk. If it fails, Ibrahim replies, staring toward the horizon. Then my people starve, and that is not an option. 2 hours later, the engines roar, and Ibrahim flies toward a neighboring nation, carrying gold and the hopes of millions. But he doesn't know. He is walking into a negotiation where the price of food may be his own life. The runway lights were dim. No cameras, no flags, no ceremony. President Ibrahim Traoré didn't come here for politics. He came to save his people from hunger. Across the metal table sat President Kuda, a hard, calculating leader, known for guarding his nation's massive grain reserves like treasure. There was no air conditioning, no aides, just 2 men. And the truth. Kuda leaned back, folding his arms. You want 500 tons of grain, tonight? He said slowly. Your advisors say your nation stands on the edge of collapse. If I give you this food, and your government falls, I never get paid. Ibrahim didn't argue. He simply nodded to his guards. A reinforced crate hit the table. Click. The latches opened. Gold, pure, raw, unpolished, the stolen blood of the nation now reclaimed. It glimmered like frozen sunlight. Ibrahim leaned forward. This gold was ripped from our soil, he said quietly. I am not buying luxury. I am buying time for my people to breathe. Weigh it. Take it all. Just give me the grain. Kuda didn't see desperation. He saw honor. He saw a leader ready to sell treasure, not to fill pockets, but to fill empty plates. He stood and held out his hand. Done. By sunset, the ground thundered under 200 loaded trucks, engines humming like a heartbeat of hope. A steel river of food rolled toward the starving provinces, and Ibrahim rode in the front truck, because he refused to save his nation from a distance. For a moment, it felt like the storm had passed, until the radio screamed, Sir, stop the convoy. The Traore bridge, it's gone. Ibrahim jumped from the truck and ran to the cliff's edge. Where a mighty concrete bridge once stood, now there was only air. A 300-foot canyon, a roaring, violent river below. The final move of the corrupt syndicate had worked. They couldn't stop the justice, so they tried to starve the solution. Behind Ibrahim stretched the convoy. Mile after mile of food. Ahead of him, nothing but a broken world. And far away in the capital, the first riots had already begun. There were no days left. There were no hours left. There was only now. His engineer swallowed hard. Sir, a temporary bridge will take weeks, maybe a month. It's impossible. Ibrahim stared at the ragged steel cables still hanging across the abyss. A crazy idea formed. Reckless, deadly, but the only way. We're not rebuilding the bridge, he said. We're going to be the bridge. They would rig a pulley, move the grain by hand, bag by bag, all night, across the void. The engineer whispered, Sir, if a man slips. Ibrahim took off his jacket, pulled on work gloves, and clipped himself to the frayed cable. Then I go first. The wind howled. Rain sliced sideways. The president of the nation stepped into thin air and swung out over death. But then, crack, a gunshot shattered the night. Sparks burst from the cable inches from his hand. Mercenaries, hidden in the cliffs. They hadn't just destroyed the bridge. They had prepared an execution ground. Another shot, then another. Anyone else would have frozen. Ibrahim didn't. He launched himself forward, hit the far bank hard, rolled behind a rock, and radioed, Light them up. Thunder answered. His loyal security forces unleashed fire across the cliffs. The mercenaries expected fear. Instead, they met a soldier who knew war better than they did. And under the roar of gunfire, under the beating rain, the work began. No speeches, no cameras, just hands bleeding, backs aching, shoulders breaking, 50-kilogram sacks sliding across a trembling cable, one by one, for 6 brutal hours. And Ibrahim never stepped aside. He stood in the receiving line, catching sacks until his palms tore open. Because leadership is not a seat. It is a burden. By dawn, the mercenaries were gone. By sunrise, the last bag crossed, and the famine was cancelled. But Ibrahim did not sleep. He climbed back into the lead truck. Take me to Gallo. The convoy rolled into the silent village that had once cursed his name. Chief Bamogo sat in the dust, believing the curse was real, believing doom had come. Until the rumble came, until the trucks appeared, until the water tankers followed. And the people saw a leader who returned, not with excuses but with bread and clean water. Ibrahim walked to the chief. Exhausted, bleeding, human, he raised his hand. Food began to flow. Water began to pour. Hope began to breathe again. Chief Bamogo trembled. For 80 years he had watched leaders take. This was the first time he saw a leader give until it hurt. He fell to his knees. Forgive me, my son. But Ibrahim lifted him. Stand, Papa. Your anger woke me. A leader must listen, even when the truth hurts. The crowd broke into tears and joy. Women ululated. Men cheered. Children ran beside the trucks, laughing for the first time in months. And in the weeks that followed, the poisoned river was cleaned. The corrupt network was exposed. Justice, real justice, finally arrived. Those who destroyed the land were ordered to restore it. And slowly, the river returned to life. Months later, a journalist asked Chief Bamogo, "What is Ibrahim Traoré's legacy here?" The old chief pointed to a carving. A man hanging from a cable, carrying food across the impossible. He smiled. Food is eaten. Water is drunk. But courage remains. A leader is not the one who sits on the throne. A leader is the one who builds the bridge, so others may cross. Ibrahim never spoke of that night, because some victories don't need medals. They only need memory. And in the hearts of his people, the curse was broken, not by magic, but by a man who refused to let his people fall. True leadership is not power. It is sacrifice, courage, and love for the people. If the story inspired you, backhand index pointing right like, backhand index pointing right share, backhand index pointing right subscribe. So more hearts can hear stories of loyalty, justice, and courage, because the world needs more bridge builders.